And without further ado, I will go ahead and make introductions and turn our mic over to our presenter today. I am Carli Thompson. I am the Grants and Education Specialist for Kalamazoo Climate Crisis Coalition. Part of my work is to work with a group of young people who are Kalamazoo and Portage students mostly, although the program we would really love to see more representation across the county. So, this is a group of students who convenes the last week of the summer and spends the entire to spend a week together doing an intensive, and then works with us throughout the school year on projects of their own invention. And this is my first year working with them, and it has been a pleasure. And I am also learning about high school student schedules and realize that it is really hard for students to step away in the middle of a school day. So we're lucky to have one representative today who's going to carry the message for the entire group of 12, while the others are busy doing their AP exam testing and other attending to other school commitments, of course, in the middle of a school day. So today we have Ava Balint, and she is a senior. She studies at CAMSI, and she is also wrapping up this year doing an internship with MLCV, and this is her second year with Ardea. She's graduating this year and going to Michigan State, where she's going to study public policy and get a minor in environmental studies and sustainability. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Ava.
Thank you for that great introduction. Yeah, here I have a slideshow that I'm gonna go ahead and share. I'm just gonna talk over what is Ardea, introduce the other 11 members that aren't here, and what we've done this year. So, oh, here you go. Here are a few members from this year's group. We have Naya, Ari, and Tegan, and then we have Olive, Maya, and oh, my camera's covering Leah. There you go. And then there's me, Riley, and Mary Ann, and then Bix, Violet, and Kaden. We're all from various different schools. Majority of us are from Kalamazoo Central. We have a few from William Norix, and then also Portage Northern. I don't believe we have any from Portage Central though. And then we also, myself, Marion, and Kaden go to CAMSI, which is the Math and Science Center. Um, and since I'm the only representative here today, we got some testimonials from four of the members, kind of sharing why they joined Ardea and like what their favorite part is, just so you can get to know a bit of the group better. Oh, let's see, first one. So, oh, here's Ari. She's a sophomore at Kalamazoo Central.
My name is Ariana Webb. I'm a 10th grader at Kalamazoo Central, and I think Ardea is important in the community because it shows that youth have a voice, and it's important for people to hear all voices and not just old white people.
My name is Riley Reinhart. I'm a senior at Portage Northern, and I think it's important to work with kids and as a team because climate change is a really daunting topic and subject matter, and working together makes it seem a lot easier, and it makes us divide the work into tasks we can accomplish.
I'm Leah. I'm a sophomore at Kalamazoo Central, and I think it's really important to educate all of the people in my generation because we're mainly the ones who have to deal with this problem, and I just think it's important that we know about it and that we care about it so that we can take action on it.
My name is Violet Eppinga. I'm a junior at Kalamazoo Central High School, and my advice for someone applying for Ardea is that it is a big time commitment and they should be prepared for that.
Our mission pretty much we have like a long-term goal right now, and it's peer education. So last year we prioritized going into classrooms. We went to CAMSI and El Sol and Linden Grove. Those are various middle school and elementary schools in our county. And in those presentations, we emphasize like the importance of place-based learning, and that essentially is just when you're learning about the environment, making sure that the students connect to the space around them. So then it builds that sense of just connection so they care more about what they're learning about. And it's not just, oh, okay, it's getting warmer out. Like, how does that affect me? And just making sure that the connection is there when they're learning. Um, Now with our education goal, I'll touch this a bit more later, but we've started collecting information so we can suggest curriculum changes in our districts. So then climate education becomes more of a priority. Um, yeah. We also do a lot of different community events. Here are some pictures from our snowman protests earlier this year. It was actually kind of ironic when we had this protest. A lot of the snow was melting while we were building the snowmen, so we had signs kind of saying like "I'm going extinct," and that if we don't fix like what's happening to our planet, then we may not have as much snow in the future. We also like to collaborate with lots of other similar groups, notably MLCV. Some other community events we've done. A big event that we do in November is our pop-up thrift event. Here's the top two pictures are pictures from our thrift event. You can see Bix in the top left. She's laying over the amount of clothes that we got donated to us, which was amazing. Essentially, we collect clothes that are donated to us and we sell them for very cheap to raise funds for future events and also raise awareness for um like how bad fast fashion is for our environment and why it's important to shop sustainably. Like I said earlier, we have the snowman protests. We also do various trash pickups. We do some in the city, but then we also do trash pickups on the Calivan Trail. And then we do a lot of tabling at different events just for outreach and making sure other climate organizations know about us so then we can stay connected just to build a better movement. And um, a notable community event that's coming up is our Literacy for the Lakes protest that is in 5 days. So it is pretty soon. It's May 13th. I'll have more information about that soon. We're actually partnering with MLCB for this protest, so it's gonna be really exciting. Yeah, so like I said earlier, we do a lot of teaching in schools. So we did El Sol, which is an elementary school. We went to Camsey, which is a high school, and then we went to Linden Grove, which is a middle school. So we went to a wide variety of different like education levels and made sure that we kind of fit the presentation that we gave to that group. So then they best retain the information and it was important to do that so then we wouldn't convey it in a kind of doomsday scenario. That was kind of a goal that we were making sure we achieved was not conveying the information in such a scary aspect because we found that when discussing how we're going to present this information, a lot of us connected that it was presented in a doomsday kind of context, and that scared us more into wanting to deny it than us wanting to help. So we were really trying to present it in a way that motivated these kids to want to help, and then also in that place-based learning aspect I talked about earlier. And then, um, like I said, this year we conducted a survey to get more information on the context of what the students know and what they're wanting to learn. We conducted this survey across the county. We got answers from all the way from third graders to college students. We got 370 responses from KPS, Portage, Gull Lake, Mattawan, you name it. So we got a plethora. of diverse responses. And most notably, I picked out these two graphs here because it kind of made me feel like motivated for what I do in a way to see that other students are feeling the same. In the top left here, like we asked how likely are you to want to fight for your environment, and majority of people said on a scale of like 1 to 5, they were 3+, and that was just really good to see because you can tell that students across the county really want to fight for the environment. Um, but again, that climate education isn't really prioritized in schools, so many of them may not know how to fight for their environment. And so we just need to be able to know how to tap into these amount of young students who want to help and give them that outlet to help. And then there's also this infographic here of what are the most interesting topics related to climate change that you want to worry about. And one of the top ones is actually political actions, which was cool to see that um, students are ready to take kind of that serious step into climate action, which is that political action. Um, and yeah, so I just wanted to share that cool information that we got because I feel like it was just really nice to see. And then we also do a lot of tabling. So we do events such as citizens or other people's events such as Citizens Climate Lobby, Climate Palooza at WMU, and then an art activism event that was put on by a girl named Harper, and it was amazing. And yeah, our favorite thing to do at these tabling events, you can see a picture on the top here and then also at the bottom. We do seed bombs. And they're just a really fun activity that draws people to our table, and then we share about why it's important for native plants to be a part of our ecosystem. And so we have a lot of different native flower seeds. And so, yeah, it's just a fun little tidbit of what we do at these tabling events. Yeah, and then another big part of our day is our protests. This for me is a highlight. It really gets you excited for climate action, especially seeing the amount of people that show up. It really just gives you that sense of community. Like a lot of these people took time out of their day to come fight for the climate, and it's really nice to see that sense of community in such a scary topic per se. Um, and so, yeah, we have a protest coming up, like I said earlier, but last year we had another protest with MLCV where we went to Bill Heisinger's office and tried to get him to listen to his constituents. And that was a super fun protest. There was a big turnout, and at the end, we gave letters to Bill Heisinger's office to just really try and get him to listen. Some other events, we go to churches and Hope for Creation and talk in classes, and we speak at these events. We're also connected to many other groups around Kalamazoo. For example, we did a trash pickup downtown in September, and that was a lot of fun. So not all the events are hosted by Ardea, but we participate in a lot of events because we want to make sure we show that support. So we're not only leaders, but we're also supporters in the community, which is an important aspect. Um, and then also our whole group, we're just really great friends, and I that's another important aspect of Ardea. We find that in the 1 week intensive that Carli talked about when introducing Ardea is really important because we grow that connection between each other, and because of that, we're able to work better together and really be productive throughout the school year. And then I mentioned this protest multiple times already, but here's all the information together. We're calling it the Literacy for Lakes Ardea March and Rally, partnering with MLCB. And the main goal for this protest is just to inform more people about what's going on our lakes. And there are going to be speakers and direct action opportunities so you can partner with other climate organizations in Kalamazoo, and there'll be a short march around downtown. We'll start on like the steps of City Hall. And I'll come back to this slide later if anyone needs to jot down this information. And yeah, so this is the kind of last slide here is just some ways to get involved with Ardea. There's a QR code right here for the Instagram. We post a lot of updates on like what we're doing. So if we're having like some sort of small event like a trash pickup or a snowman protest, that's a great way to hear about it. We also have an Ardea newsletter coming up. It will also be a great way to stay informed. And I just remembered one last event or one last other thing that we're doing. 6 of our members are going to a climate summit in a couple weeks, I believe. It's pretty soon. And they're gonna be going up in Lansing to lobby there. And so that'll be a really great opportunity that Ardea is also supporting and collaborating in. And I'll just end off on this slide. So yeah, that's Ardea and what we do and why we do it. Any questions?
Any questions?
I'll ask a question. So you're at a big crossroads right now as you graduate high school and figure out what's next. So how are you going to take all of this knowledge and experience from Ardea and bring it on to your next phase? Or what is your next, what are you doing next, and how does this all kind of carry over to what's next?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've definitely learned a lot in high school, specifically about like organizing for like climate action. And that's definitely a skill that I want to carry a lot with me. I specifically learned it when I interned with MLCV. Shout out to Jace. Um, and so yeah, I'll carry that with me when I go to MSU. I'm going to be in their James Madison College, which is specifically public policy. And I recently learned from Marianne that there's actually a Citizens Climate Lobby branch at MSU, and I'd really love to contribute the skills that I learned throughout that internship in high school to that branch there, so then I can keep doing various climate actions. So that's the next step. I bet there's hundreds of other opportunities at MSU that I'd love to get involved in. So any other questions while
My question for Ava
yeah.
is, how is the group selected? Do you take all comers who volunteer or hear about it, and
Mhm.
how do the students hear about it in the first place? And then is there a selection, or is it just everyone is welcome?
Yeah, so we welcome anyone who wants to apply. So the selection process is through an application. Um, the application is pretty much like your basic information, like what grade are you in, what school you go to, and then we also ask different short answer questions like why do you want to be involved, what inspires you, etc. And from there, Carly goes through and selects like who seems who would I mean it's a really hard selection process. I don't know exactly how she decides who gets
Well,
in,
so
but
it is
yeah, it
current,
is
it's
through
not the current membership necessarily that's making the decision.
no current members don't have a heavy like I guess influence over who's selected. Um but it is a selection process and we cap it at 12 people. So I heard about the application process um from a member's dad, Ari Webb. His dad is kind of like a family friend, and so it was right when the application was actually close to closing my sophomore year, and he had told me about it because he knew I was interested. So I heard from him, but a lot of members just find out through like their schools because we try and put them on school announcements, and we also advertise it through KC3 and other climate organizations. So we get the word out there the best we can, but primarily through schools.
So if you're doing it through school, how do you get it to the homeschool kids?
Mm. That's a good question.
That is a good
I
question. I
yeah.
can chime in here a little bit too about recruitment and selection. Also, we have Parth on the call with us. Parth is a former Ardea student who's just wrapping up his first year at U of M, and we are working with Parth. He's interning with us, and his first task is to help get recruitment efforts underway. And we do a big push through school counselors, teachers all over the K-RISA district. But we also reach out to like interest groups like El Concilio, and we are a member of KidNet, which is a consortium to support, it's a nonprofit that supports out of school sector learning all over Kalamazoo County. So they help us push that information out to kids who are participating in out of school programs like Boys and Girls Club or Big Brothers Big Sisters, anything that's happening outside of school. Um, and then the selection process, we really prioritize students' own reporting of feeling invested in the topic and also their availability. So if they are not available for our training week, that's a tough one because that is such an important time for the group to sort of gel as a team and also to get on the same page about what the goals and priorities are going to be and what the action steps are going to be during the year. Susan?
Yes. Um, Ava, when you and your team talk to elementary and middle school students, do you find that they're already at least somewhat familiar with the issue of climate change? I mean, do we have K-12 education in our schools locally on this topic?
Yeah, it definitely they definitely already have kind of like a baseline of knowledge, especially middle school. It varies once you get to elementary school. Um, but it lacks in like they'll cover like what climate change is, but it'll lack in like specifically like what the exact effects are and how it'll affect like that student. And so like that's where it comes like the action piece where a lot of students will hear about it but not like want to act. So that's what we find when we're presenting is they'll be like, yeah, we know what air pollution is, like we know what forest fires are, but um we share like how they can act and whatnot. Sorry, I'm like kind of starting to ramble, but yeah.
No, no, you're
Yeah.
right on target. I think that's a
All right.
really critical feature.
Thank you.
That's a great question, Susan. I just want to add an encouraging anecdote here that last week I was invited to Portage Northern West Middle School to be interviewed by an eighth grade student who was looking for a professional in the community who could answer some of her questions about how climate disinformation was impacting climate movement at a larger level and what we could do, how we could influence legislators to take action against climate disinformation, which was just the most heartening way to spend part of my day. So,
Indeed.
were there any additional questions? Marianne?
Just a comment, since Ava mentioned the Michigan State chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. There is a national youth action team for CCL, and they have recently had an event for parents to join who are considering taking their children or their grandchildren to the July National Conference and Lobby Day in Washington, D.C. So that's required for students who are under the age of 18. Anybody who's 18 can go independently. But if you, Ava, or any of the other Ardea students are interested in going to DC, that's something that would be possible. There's a conference and a lobby day in the middle of July. and I can get you more information about that.
That sounds great. Thank you, Marianne. Susan?
Okay. I'm curious, are any of the other Ardea members considering going into environmental sustainability or climate-related work?
I believe Marianne is gonna do a major in biology, I believe, and she might be minoring in environmental studies. I forget exactly. I'm not totally sure about Caden. I know he's gonna be attending U of M. Though I think he is interested in more of the geology side of things, which is also an important field. Um, I'm trying to think. I haven't heard what Riley's gonna do. I don't know if Carly can add on to this if she knows
Yeah,
what the other seniors.
Riley's a senior who was only with us this 1 year, and he is going to enter into the construction trades, which, is not, it's hard to find a field or a sector that is unrelated. Something else that these that these young people participated in recently is KRISA put on, they do something called Career Champions, and there's teams all over the KRISA service district that does various types of projects. And there's a Climate Champions team. And this year I served on the Climate Champions team with two teachers, KRISA professional and someone from my STEM who's housed at Western. And we put on a career fair, and we had almost 200 students attend a career fair that was representing all of the different sectors that KRISA is helping students explore these career pathways anyway. But this time we were specifically exploring them through the lens of how climate change is impacting each of those career pathways, and how we asked for the professionals to tell personal stories about how climate change has impacted the professional career pathway choices they've made for themselves. And it was a really encouraging and wonderful event. Our Ardea students had a leadership role. They were plants in all of the breakout sessions in case the other students were slow to engage and ask questions. And they also stood up in front of Marianne, our younger student, Marianne, stood up in front of, 300 people and talked about Ardea and talked about the application being open and the work that the group does. I also wanted to just say a little bit more about Ava mentioned that some of the students are going to Lansing. That is not this weekend, but the one after that. I'm bringing 6 students to an event that is organized by DAYM, which is Detroit Area Youth. They organize around all sorts of things, including climate change. And they have put together this really cool opportunity where it's a 2-day event. The first day is going to be a training session for the young people to work with a group called Repower, who does coaching for engaging for lobby, learning to lobby. And so it's a whole day where they're going to learn to lobby, put together organized presentations. And then the second day, they have organized a brunch with 10 different legislators. And so the students are going to get an opportunity to talk with legislators on student terms, because DAM's done years and years of organizing where they could do all the work of getting kids excused from school, take them to Lansing, and then a legislator will not show up for them anyway. So kudos to DAM and kudos to our kids and parents who are making it happen and getting themselves there to get the education and engage with the legislators. Parth, are you in a way that you could share a little bit about your experience? I know Susan was asking what graduates of the program are going on to do, but I thought maybe you could share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, for sure. yeah, so I did Ardea last year, and it definitely helped me. It changed a lot of like how I view my community and how I view like my place in my community and what I can do to help out. Um, Especially like again with like the whole, I think a lot of training week and orientation week is a lot about restructuring how we view the climate crisis and seeing it as more of a problem you can tackle in your community rather than this big daunting problem that you might not have like a big role in. And right now, I just finished my first year at the University of Michigan. I'm an intended public policy major with a minor in sustainability. And I was selected for the next year to serve on the Student Sustainability Coalition, which is a group of around 20 students that communicate directly with the like heads of the university. So I'll be working a lot with the vice provost on sustainability and the incoming president at U of M to help champion sustainability initiatives on campus. And it was definitely an application process and an interview process. And a lot of what I was able to flaunt on my application is the fact that I've done a lot of climate work in my community through Ardea and a lot of organizing. And I'm looking to kind of find that space on campus. So I think it definitely has helped me with professional opportunities in the future too. And I'm really excited for that sort of future that Ardea has helped me kind of spark.
That's great. Thank you.
I just wanted to jump in because I know a lot of people here know Maya Bresnow as through Western, and she's also a former Ardea member, right? If I'm correct about that.
You're
Yeah.
correct.
And I know that she was elected as the student body vice president at WMU, and they have a real sustainability framework that they're going to be bringing to Western's administration. So that's also like another example of Ardea students who are going on to do great things.
Yeah. I want to share two more examples of Ardea students really leveraging this experience. One is Harper Horvath. Some of you might remember or know Harper. She also is at Western, and she is a poet and a communicator, and she has started a program with Second Wave Media doing youth voices and specifically around environment for Second Wave Media. And speaking of Second Wave Media, I just put in the chat a link to an article that Leah, who I will say is also Molly Mechtenberg's daughter. Leah is a sophomore this year and participated. I don't know the name of the program actually, Molly, maybe you know.
Yeah, it's called Voices of Youth, and it's a journalism program for high schoolers. It's great. It was really great. It was like sessions with a mentor, and they gave you guidance on how to write like a investigative journalism piece, and then they publish it at the end. So she loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
She did love it, and the link is in the chat there, and I hope that you visit the article. She could have written the article about any topic of her choosing, but she chose to write about climate change education for K through 12 students because of the research that Ardea was doing, and because in her own words, that it's just a topic that she's interested in. Tim?
Ardea, that's a funny name, funny word. Why is the group called Ardea?
I was wondering that for a minute too, but it was chosen that because it's the scientific name of a heron, and they originally met at Heronwood at the Nature Center, and so that's where it kind of is derived from. But we just felt like the name already carried so much weight to it, and kind of started building a name for itself, so we didn't want to change it. And we kind of kept it that, even though we don't meet at Heronwood anymore.
Well, if there's no other questions, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, Ava, for being here and representing, and I appreciate all of you for showing up and supporting these young people doing this important work.
I have one last thing to add. The Ardea program is benefits from many, many adults in our communities, many whom are on this call that you heard thanked today. who show up to share their expertise with the students as part of their intensive and support by connecting them with resources and events throughout the year. So I just want to give a shout out to all of you and everyone who's not here who helps us really seat the Ardea program in the community. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and enjoy this beautiful day. And thanks again to Ava.
Thanks, Ava.
Thanks, Ava.
Of course.